So is keeping up with the Joneses the biblical sin of covetousness? Let's have a look at the 10th commandment in Exodus 20 verse 17 as we attempt to think this one through. It reads, "You shall not covet," there's our key commandment, "your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or," and here's the problem part, up until now it's been quite easy. I've never coveted my neighbor's ox, I've never coveted my neighbor's donkey, never coveted his servants, but anything that is your neighbor's means that coveting anything that belongs to our neighbor is a problem. So let's imagine that we are ancient Israelites and you go to visit your neighbor and you notice that he has an incredible ox. This ox's ability to plow and to get stuff done is just remarkable. And you think to yourself, man, I wish that I had an ox like his ox. Is that coveting his ox? I really wish that I had an ox like my neighbor's ox. Are we in that process coveting his ox? What does it mean to covet something? I'll give you another example. I have one family member who is fairly affluent. So if I visit my sister's house and I see, whoa, she's got a really nice car. Wish I had one of those. Or she has a really, really nice house or a beautiful kitchen. Wish I had one of those. Or perhaps I see some kind of an appliance at her house and I think that appliance is so useful. If only we had one of those, it would really help our lives. Is that coveting? And the answer to that is a resounding no. Well, as long as. So what does it mean to covet? It means to see something my neighbor has and then to wish that I had one. So to wish I had it, and then the critical part of all of this, then to scheme to get it from my neighbor. And this is the key part that makes the sin of covetousness. So if I go and see my neighbor's ox and think, man, that would really help me if I had that ox, and then I come up with a plan or a scheme so that I can get my neighbor's ox, that is covetousness. But if I go and I see my neighbor's ox and I think, man, I'd really like one of those, that may be the sin of envy if certain conditions are met. And it may be anchored in greed. But it is not covetousness unless I'm scheming to take it from my neighbor. To return to the illustration of my family member, if I go and I see an appliance that's really useful and I think, man, I'd really like to get myself one of those. And as a result, I go and I work honestly and save up money and then I'm able to buy one. That wasn't covetousness. That is simply seeing something that's useful and deciding to work towards it. So covetousness is the sin of seeing something my neighbor has, wanting it for myself, and then scheming so that I can get it away from them. If I went to my sister and I started dropping broad hints about how useful something would be in an attempt to manipulate her to give me that valuable item, then maybe I'm crossing the line. And certainly if I came up with more sinister schemes, I would have crossed the line. But in broad pictures, friends, the sin of covetousness then is when I see something my neighbor has, I want one, and I start scheming to get it from my neighbor. If I simply want it, there may be greed, there may be envy, or there may be none of those. It may simply be an honest and noble desire for something that would benefit my life and even enable me to serve God more faithfully.